Hi everyone, welcome to day 14 of Vegan June and what I ate yesterday. So for breakfast I made these hash brown and onion cups. I first preheated my oven to 180 degrees Celsius and I started by grating up 2 peeled potatoes in my food processor. I then added in half a red onion and grated that up as well. And then to that I added 1 tablespoon of olive oil and seasoned it with salt and black pepper. I gave that a really good mix and then I took a small handful, squeezing out the excess water from the potatoes. This is really important. And then I placed them into cupcake cases. If you have a muffin tin, this will work so much better. And this made 6 altogether. I then placed them in the oven for 30 minutes and in that time I took a bunch of cherry tomatoes on the vine from one of our tomato plants and placed that in a pan with boiling water and allowed them to cook until the skins begin to split. Once the potato cups were done, I almost just scooped them out with a teaspoon onto my plate. I had 3 altogether. Added on some of my homemade ketchup and then added on the tomatoes. These are a different way of doing my mini hash browns, and of course with the added onion, which just give them so much flavour. And you can actually add what you like to these: nutritional yeast, broccoli, mushrooms, they would all be great as well. For a morning snack I made a green smoothie. I started by halving 1 avocado, chopping up 1 green apple, 2 sticks of celery and half of a pineapple. I then added 1 cup of almond milk into my food processor with 1 cup of spinach, the avocado half, the pineapple chunks, the apple slices, the celery, and then I also added in half a teaspoon of spirulina. I'm all out of my nutritional yeast, so this is another great source of vitamin B12. I blended that up until smooth. It obviously works so much quicker in a blender, but I broke mine, hence having to make everything in my food processor. I had a comment asking if I could make green smoothies in my food processor, so I wanted to show you how I make mine. They're so delicious and refreshing. I usually add ice too, but the almond milk and most of my fruit and veg was already cold. It's just a great boost of goodness and it's something I'll always whip up if I feel that's just what my body needs. For lunch I almost made some bruschetta with some flat raspberry lemonade. I just toasted up 2 slices of superfood bread. I'd used the same baking paper as the muffins this morning, and whilst those were under the grill I made up a salad topping of a large handful of fresh rocket, a small handful of fresh parsley, a small handful of fresh mint, 1 sliced red chilli, 1 minced garlic clove, the zest of 1 lemon and then the juice from half of it. Once my bread was toasted I spread on some hummus and then added the salad on top of that. I also had a tiny bit of smoothie left over and I decided to use that as a salad dressing on top. I then made my flat raspberry lemonade with some coconut water, the juice from the other half of the lemon, a slice of fresh lemon, a small handful of frozen raspberries and a small handful of mint. I gave that a good mix and it was absolutely amazing, so refreshing and a great alternative to regular fruity lemonade. The lunch was great too, really light but still filling enough. It's actually 45 degrees Celsius this week. You guys know how much of a foodie I am, but even in the heat I find it so hard to eat, so I feel my meals from now on will probably be a lot lighter. For a snack I had some apple slices and homemade caramel sauce. For this I just blended up 1 cup of dates with 2 tablespoons of almond butter and 1 cup of hot water in my food processor until it was smooth. You have to stop it a couple of times in between, just give it a stir and then blend it up again. And that's all it takes. You get the most amazing caramel sauce for it. I just sliced up 1 green apple to dip into it, but it will work with so many fruits and you can use it as a drizzle over ice cream, on desserts or in desserts. It is so quick and easy to make. I just store the rest of it in a jar in the fridge, and that will keep for up to 5 days. For dinner I made a mushroom stroganoff. I started by dicing up 1 white onion, and then I added that to a pan with a little olive oil and cooked it off until soft. I then minced in 2 cloves of garlic and sliced up a 400-gram pack of mushrooms. I added the mushrooms in and allowed those to also cook. I seasoned it with half a teaspoon of paprika, salt and black pepper, and then poured in 1 cup of vegetable stock. Let that simmer for around 10 minutes, and then I removed 1/3 of it, place it in my food processor and blend it up with half a cup of almond milk to make a creamy sauce. I then add that back into the pan with 1 small handful of fresh thyme and 1 small handful of fresh parsley. And whilst that finished cooking, I did some brown rice in another pan, and when that was completely cooked, I served the rice up in a cup and turned it out into a bowl. I then topped it with a stroganoff and more fresh parsley and made 1 large portion as it was just me eating. I honestly used to hate mushrooms and couldn't eat anything that had ever touched them, but since eating plant-based, my taste buds have completely changed and I eat mushrooms all the time now. You could also add some Dijon mustard into this if you wanted to give it a bit of a kick as well. I love doing this occasionally. It just adds a whole new depth of flavour and it's so good. It does turn out to be such a quick meal and can be done in under 30 minutes. For dessert, I made some of these chocolate crispy treats. In a large bowl, I mixed 1 cup of oats left over from my oat cluster recipe, 2 tablespoons of raw cacao powder, 2 tablespoons of the caramel sauce, and then I added in a splash of almond milk. I gave it a really good mix, and then I took a tablespoon at a time and dropped it onto a lined baking tray to make 8 of these crispy treats all together. They'll all be different shapes and sizes, but that really doesn't matter. And then I placed them in the oven on 180 degrees Celsius for 25 minutes. Once they were out, I left them to cool slightly before we had some, and it really is as simple as just mixing a few ingredients together in a bowl and placing them in the oven, and they just make for the most amazing crispy chocolate brownie cookie combo treats. Thank you again so much for watching today's What I Ate for Vegan June. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again tomorrow for the next one. Bye!